Carvana experience. What's it been like? It's been interesting, for sure. So, about a month or so ago, my wife Kelly and I decided that we were going to start this new car buying experience. We wanted to do something a little bit different, avoid the dealerships and all that good stuff, because you just go to the dealerships and you end up having a lot of games played, and that's just the way that the dealerships work. It's the way they've always worked. It's the way they'll always work. And then they try to sell you some BS where they're not different. They're more laid back. They're more casual. They don't play the games. The truth is, they always end up playing the sales game. Now, I'm not here to say that Carvana is any different. It's a strange beast. Carvana is interesting. It's new. It has its problems. But I think it's a new, reasonable alternative to avoid having to go to the dealership. This is just my straight up experience working through Carvana. So first things first, we knew what we were looking for, right? It's really that simple. When we went into this Carvana experience, we knew what kind of vehicle we wanted ahead of time, what kind of style. We had done some fairly minor research into what we wanted. We knew we wanted an SUV, a wagon, something like that, and we probably wanted to stick with Kia. Now, you can have the arguments about Kia or whatever, but the one we just traded in had 130,000 miles on it. It was in really good shape, no problems, never spent any time in the dealership. The Kia was good to us. So we started looking for a Kia. So first things first, we found the Kia. The Kia we wanted was great. We did a little bit of research on it. I was a little bit standoffish because the Kia Soul, which is what we ended up getting, looked a little small at first. But this is my wife's daily driver. I'm a bigger guy. I thought to myself, you know what? My wife's going to be the one driving it mostly. She's going to be taking it, 1 mile to school every day. She's a school teacher. It's a very teachery looking car. But at any rate, we found a Kia Soul that we liked, that we wanted, right? We knew that's what we were kind of in the market for. So we went on Carvana. Now I want to tell you, Carvana has endless numbers of Kia Souls. Just endless numbers of Kia Souls. There's plenty of them on there. According to Kia, they sold like 145,000 units in 2023. So this is a pretty popular car. The one that we ordered from Carvana was a 2024. It was a small fleet vehicle, government fleet vehicle from Illinois. It was 2024 and had 22,000 miles on it. The mileage was a little bit high, but let me break this down for you, my thought process. So the thought process behind this is that it was a 2024 Kia Soul with 22,000 miles on it that came from a small fleet in Illinois. This car wasn't too terribly bad. It was in pretty good shape, had all of the maintenance records. There was a Carfax, there was an Experian report with this thing. This thing was loaded with data. Okay, so I could go and verify a lot of this information. My first suggestion when dealing with Carvana is keep in mind that you're buying this vehicle sight unseen. Okay? You don't know anything about this vehicle, but if you know what type of vehicle you're looking for and you're comfortable with this and you've done your kind of legwork on this, buying a car on Carvana isn't necessarily a bad thing. So what we did was when we got this car in mind, that this is what we wanted, we started looking at the vehicle history report. We started doing our due diligence on this vehicle. They provide you with a VIN number. You can independently verify this information, okay? Again, a lot of the Carvana experience is just doing the legwork. So basically what I found out is you're trading having to do legwork for having to deal with BS at the dealership. So all in all, this 2024 Kia Soul had a sticker price on it of like $17,000, okay? So what I did is I went to Edmunds, I went to Blue Book, and I said, okay, look, what is this vehicle worth? Like if it was only worth like $12,000 or $13,000, then going through Carvana wasn't worth it. But what I found on Edmunds and what I found on Blue Book was that a comparable vehicle, Kia Soul, 22,000 miles, one owner, fleet vehicle. At retail was about 19,000. Carvana had this thing offered for a little under 17. That's not a bad deal. So now let's talk about the trade-in process. The trade-in process was very quick, simple, easy. I didn't have a real problem with the trade-in. All I did was go in, enter the VIN, and I put in some very basic information about my vehicle. Now the Kia Sorento that we trade in, like I said, had 130,000 miles on it. It was still in pretty good shape. It wasn't giving us any serious problems at all, but there were a few little lights on the dashboard. You know, the ABS thing was coming on. The check engine light was on. Had already checked the codes, and there was like an O2 sensor or something going out. Just little things that we could have certainly replaced, dropped $1,000 into this thing. It would have been perfectly fine, I think. But here's my thing. With the trade-in, this was my experience. Before we bought the car, we took the Kia Sorento to a dealership. And before we were even getting involved with this Carvana thing, we thought, you know what, let's just go the traditional route. We'll go here to our local dealer. We live in a pretty small town outside of San Antonio, and Sierra is kind of the place where most people buy vehicles. Went in there, they had a Subaru, which we liked. We thought that was pretty cool, but there were some issues with this, like it had been in the shop for repairs and it had been wrecked, and it was much older and had 60 or 70,000 miles, cost much more money, which not bad for a Subaru. But hear me out. When we got to the Sierra dealership here in our little town, right? Howdy Doody comes out there wearing his multicolored boots and, weird looking brush popper shirt, and like he just woke up on a Saturday morning after spending all night at the honky tonk. And he really didn't strike us as knowing much about anything, right? So he takes the car out for a spin. He's gone for about 5 minutes, comes back and he says, well, the best I can get you is about $1,500. Really? I knew that was a little bit low for this trade-in. It didn't even come close to what Blue Book was offering for a 2014 Kia Sorento with 100,000 miles in decent shape. $1,500 sounded a little bit low. So that's when I went home and I went to Carvana. I figured, okay, look, and Sierra is already playing these games with me. They're already trying to, BS their way into, something that always benefits them to the better. Of course, they did what they do, right? They ran a credit thing and all this and that. You end up with 49 hits on your credit, because they just submit it to the best banks that work best for the dealership, right? And Sarah just played a lot of games with us. And so I said, okay, look, I'm done with this. I'm out. So I go and I enter the information in Carvana, okay? I put in the mileage. I put in the condition. I notate on there that, there's some ABS lights. In the additional documentation I put in, this is the codes that we knew existed for like the O2 sensor. Our Carvana ended up giving us an offer of $35,800 for the car on trade-in, which I felt was a little on the low side, but it was very competitive, much more than what Sierra was going to give us. So now I have an offer from Carvana, $3,580 down payment, trade-in, whatever, on this car, okay, on this Kia Sorento. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm content with that. Like I say, much better than what Sierra was going to give us. But then also, here's my thing when it comes to a trade-in. Be honest. If it has stains on the seat, from kids spilling stuff, put that on there. Just be real honest with Carvana. Tell them straight up what condition your car's in. Chances are they're still going to give you a pretty good deal. This has been my experience. Now, there were some stains from, kids spilling drinks and, 10 years worth of using this car, right? Okay. It's perfectly fine. I still, that when they accepted the trade-in, and we'll get into that here in a minute, they did pretty good. So we signed the deal for this 2024 Kia Soul with 22,000 miles. We did have to pay $290 or something like that because it's coming from Kankakee, Illinois to South Texas. I'm okay with that. All right, $290. Why not? We set the delivery date. Okay, we knew that we were going to be working throughout the week. We had different things going on. This is what we were dealing with. We set the delivery date for this day, this time. Now, when we were doing our trade-in, you need to make sure that you have the registration. You need to make sure that you have the title, all this stuff in your possession, because you're going to have to give this to the driver when you do the handover. But now let's get into the handover. So Friday evening, 5 o'clock rolls around. Our delivery window was between 5 and 8. About 4:30, I get a call from the delivery driver saying, hey, look, I can be there closer to 5:15. Will this work? I said, sure, no problem. That'd be great. Right on cue, she arrives with the Kia Soul. We take a quick look at the Kia Soul while it's still on the truck. Just do a quick walk around of it, make sure that this is the thing. While we're doing that, she goes over and she inspects our trade-in to verify that what we had told them was true. She hooks up a little computer to it. She does her little thing, gets the code, analyzes it, everything. Says, all right, look, great. Your trade-in is approved. It's perfect. The key here is be honest about the condition and the type of vehicle that you're trading in. Don't BS them, because they're still going to check this thing out. So then she begins to offload the 2024 Kia Soul off of the truck. Once she gets it unloaded, she drives it over to a parking lot, pulls it into the slot. We can get in it, take a look around, walk around it, look at the engine, do the whole 9 yards, verify the VIN number that the vehicle that's being delivered is the vehicle that we saw online that we purchased. It was still in really good shape, no issues with this. Hand her the insurance to the new vehicle, the Kia Soul. Hand her the title, hand her the registration. We do a quick look around, everything's fine, no big deal. This is the car that we ordered, this is the car that we got. Within about 30 minutes, everything was done. We were out taking the car for a spin, checking out the brakes, checking out the mechanical condition of the car, whole 9 yards. It was perfectly fine. I had no issues. All in all, at the end of the day, would I recommend purchasing a car from Carvana? Absolutely, 100%. I don't have any problem with this. I think Carvana did us right. I think it was pretty well. What I would do, go ahead and have your financing in place through your credit union or through your bank, whatever. Probably you're not going to get the best financing offer through Carvana if you finance it through them or one of their approved dealers or finance people, whatever. As with always, try to walk in there with your own financing or pay cash. Now, I've heard some issues with the registration. I get it. These things happen. Sometimes people make their problems seem a lot worse than they really are. It's human nature. It's American nature. It's how we operate. We like to try to, overblow our problems. I haven't so far run into any problems. We've only had the car a few days. We still have paper plates on the thing, but it is what it is. Is there an issue with that? I don't know. There could be. Seems like I've read plenty of things online about how Carvana is slow to get the registration, and sometimes the tags run out, the temporary tags and stuff run out and all this stuff. I get it. But is it a real problem? I mean, if you just know how to work the system and you know how to go to the DMV and get a new paper plate if these run out before your regular plates get here, work the system. Don't overblow the problem. But all in all, what did I think of the Carvana experience? I thought it was a pretty good experience. I'm a 43-year-old guy. I've been dealing with car dealerships for years. I don't trust car dealerships. I don't think they ever work in your best interest. That's a whole different video. But I wanted something different. Now, I think that Carvana is having some growing pains. I think they're still trying to get all this stuff worked out. I think there's still problems that they have to deal with, probably like this registration thing and all this stuff that they have to work out. But all in all, the Carvana experience was not bad. So far, I'm happy to rate Carvana as being pretty good. I'd give them 8 out of 10. Here's the recap. Know what you want. Be honest about your trade-in. Go in there with financing. Have a budget in mind. And just know that this is not a dealer experience. Carvana isn't meant to be a dealer experience. And that, my friends, is a good thing. So here's the deal. I liked Carvana so far. I'm pretty happy with it. I think their warranty and stuff is great. This car still has a lot of factory warranty on it. I'm pretty happy with that. It's transferred over. I've already been in contact with Kia about this. I'm pretty happy with it. I think all in all, wasn't a bad idea. Good on you, Carvana, because we have to figure out a way to send a message to these dealerships that consumers are done. We've heard it all. We've seen it all. It's time that we, the consumers, send a message to the dealerships that we're done. I'm Matt. This is my blog. This is the YouTube channel. Be sure to visit my website, Matt Pierce Blog, where I talk about everything under the sun, from racing to faith to social issues to politics. And I do it in my traditional kind of sarcastically written way, okay? Very blunt, very straightforward stuff. I'm a journalist, and this is what I do for a living. And now I'm finally getting to do it my way without all the henchmen. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to come along with us on this journey. And let's have some great conversations. Let's laugh a little bit. Let's not take ourselves too serious. And let's just see what's going on. We'll see you in the next video.